Well, I don't have my truck. I just came out of this Pita Hut, Lebanese cuisine. My favorite place. I had some salad and some kafta. And she says, would you like some bread today? And I didn't want to have bread, but her bread is so nice, you know. She warms it up, it's dry. I said, okay, I'll take one like very dry, thin, like looks like Indian naan, but not puffy, you know. Anyway, it was good. Had some water. Now this was the first time I used my headphones. I was thinking, how do I use headphones with you know, I got basic headphones which I use on the MacBook, and they also fit the Samsung phone, but you know, they have a standard connection there, like a round, you know, like a, that doesn't look like this, right? But this is what you need for the iPhone, and this is i11 Pro Max. And yeah, works very good. I just watched a video about cost of ownership of a Hellcat. Jeez. A guy has a friend who has a Hellcat, and this guy had it for 2.5 years. He put 53,000 miles on it, and they calculated that at conservative 11 miles a gallon. That's all he's doing. Because he's constantly, you know, racing people at lights and stuff like that, driving like crazy. And he changed the boost on the supercharger, blew the supercharger, had to replace the supercharger, damaged the suspension. You know, it has some fancy active suspension. Had to replace the suspension. I'm not sure if they did the suspension under warranty, but of course the supercharger, he blew it because he was running very high, you know, PSI of boost. And of course he put in the tune, which allows him to do that. And he says day one he removed all mufflers and all resonators, and then a couple of months later he even removed the cats. So it's not legal, but you know, he says so far nobody stopped him, and that car is like it's so loud. And he says the best part he likes about having no exhaust is that it's that popping sound, you know, like my car does that pop, you know. But his car, it's like every minute you hear, I don't know, 15-20 pops, you know, out of the, when he takes the foot off the gas. But anyway, this guy in 2.5 years, they calculated at 11 miles per gallon, right? So you can calculate yourself. Let me see, 53,000 divided by 11 miles per gallon, which is ridiculous. So it's 4,800 gallons. And the buddy says, so how much is gas where you live? And he says $4 a gallon. He's probably from Canada. So he spent $19,272 on gas in 2.5 years. And he says now he switched to 100 octane gas, which is $10 a gallon. Crazy. I thought I want a Hellcat. I'm not so sure now, because I watched another guy also, and they're saying, yeah, like the costs are, like this guy says he's paying $600 US a month, which is actually for a Hellcat is pretty good, because I'm paying more for my car, but in Canadian money. So 600 is cheap for a 700 horsepower car. But he says he's going through tires every 3 months, you know, at $250 a pop, and gas, of course, and then he's changing oil every 3,000 miles, because he's always abusing the car, you know, he runs very fast, you know. So I don't know. I'm quite happy with my 392, so much power. And yeah, I did order the shorty headers. I decided not to go with long headers, because this car already has a lot of power, and I don't want to pay so much for install. You know, like with long tube headers, install is very expensive, and then you need meat pipes. Whereas with shorty headers, you just replace the factory manifold with shorty headers. And I also purchased.
IA.net.
And I also purchased a bigger throttle body. Like the factory throttle body is 80 millimeters. I got the one that's 90 millimeters. So right now, so I've had this car pretty much exactly for 2 years, because I got it in November 2018 and was a 2018 model, so it probably was sitting on the lot for like 1 year because it was winter. But when we opened the hood, I found lots of leaves, you know. And so I had it for 2 years, and pretty much like that guy with the Hellcat, but I have 16,000 kilometers on it, which is 10,000 miles, and I don't spend, of course, because of this, I didn't spend anywhere close to what that guy is doing. In my car, like the fuel economy is much better, definitely, than on a Hellcat. I'm just trying to see where's my number. What? It says average 11.4 miles per gallon. How is that possible? Come on. 11.4 miles per gallon. If I'm doing 11.4 miles per gallon, there's no way the guy with the Hellcat is doing 11. You know, he's probably doing 7, which is pretty much slightly better than what I do in my Kenworth. And so yeah, a lot of people don't believe in these throttle bodies, but what they do, and they say, people are saying, oh, but you're, you know, everything is controlled by your PCM, by the computer. So if you just increase the diameter, the computer will just do what? The computer will add fuel, because the main goal of the PCM is to keep your air-fuel ratio the same, right? So if you increase the air, it will add fuel to keep the ratio the same, and that's what happens. Maybe you won't see too much difference in horsepower, which is at high RPM, but you will definitely see more torque at the low RPM. And that's my goal. I don't care about horsepower. At 7,000 RPM, this is a street vehicle. Yeah, it's a 50-kilometer zone. And there's a cop in this lane over here. Oh, he's turning. All right. And so yeah, I don't have a truck. I have no idea when it's going to be ready. I hope maybe Saturday, because they open on 7 days a week. It's at Kenworth in Cambridge. I was there this morning. But I'm still looking for a load, you know, because if I can find something, let's say for Monday, that would be awesome. But so far, and it's in Northern Ontario, and just going within the same town. Like I have to drive 450 miles. Sit there for 3 weeks because the permits will take forever, because 18 feet wide you need a survey. So it's some kind of big piece, and it's just going from one warehouse to another. So I give him my price based on the miles for me back and forth, and the complexity of the load, and roughly cost of permits, and the guy thanked me, and then he disappeared. And then he emailed me again. Now he has a different load from Quebec going to Manitoba, and this one is only if the first one was 19 feet wide, this one is 18. And I said, do you have any normal loads? Like, what happened to 100,000 pounds, 12 feet wide, 12 feet tall? Do you have any of those? So I got a 9-axle, 60 ton rig. But the good news is that I managed to get kind of like a friend, like a possible business partner, in the sense that this guy is a trader. He trades machinery and equipment, and we met. I bought him coffee, just like a kind of like a business marketing thing where you build relationships. Very nice guy, and he gave me 2 more guys, one in Florida, one in Alberta. So now I have 3 guys that quite often ship machinery and equipment. And I told this gentleman about my rig, how much I can haul, the challenges when your axle weights are reduced in winter, so I cannot haul as much. And showed him my calculator. I got a program on my MacBook that I just plug in miles and cost of permits and how much deadhead I have to do, and it tells me the rate per mile, how much I would charge, and the rate per mile before permits and the rate per mile after permits. Because that's how, when I quote, I send people like not just one price, but I send them I say, okay, line haul is this much, fuel is this much, and then permits, and I usually include deadhead in the line haul because they don't like to see deadhead, right? Because nobody wants to pay for your deadhead. They don't care. And right now we're in sport mode, so let's go up that ramp, see if I get lucky. If there's maybe there won't be any people on the ramp. I can get on the ramp to 401. And so yeah, there's another load sitting in Montreal going to Newark, New Jersey, and the guy has been trying to find the truck for like 2 weeks now, but they're too cheap. the pin that I broke. You know, the one with the center column. I'm telling you, like, honestly, I don't understand what I would do with the Hellcat, because this thing has so much power. So if you have any more power, which I will have because of the even shorty headers, they will still give you something, right? And the throttle body will still give you something. These truckers, you know, trucks all over the place, and they're so slow. Surprised that my average mileage is so bad, you know, like 11 miles per gallon. That's not good. But yeah, especially in the city, you know, like if you're driving between lights, especially in winter, because yeah, you know, what do you expect? 6.4 V8. But I think this is actually, this car, I think it's the best compromise. I think it's better than Hellcat, you know, because Hellcat is way too expensive. Yeah, 700 horsepower, but like, how are you gonna use it? You need special tires. You need special tires. You see, like, this guy is now buying 100 octane gas at 10 bucks a pop, which is totally crazy. I think I'll keep this one. I'll keep this one for a few years till it's paid off, and then maybe get the same one, but maybe get like a wide body, you know, wide body Challenger. So that one, you get a better suspension. You get this active suspension, which they put on Hellcats, and also you get what? You get bigger tires and bigger wheels. I think you get like 11-inch wide rims and tires versus, I think mine is like 9-inch or 9.5. So the car looks totally different, right? Because everything is tires, bigger tires, of course, look very nice, and it has flares. It has flares over fenders, and then active suspension. And that one is about, I think it's about 10,000 bucks Canadian, more than this car. Signaling he wanted to go into this lane, so I flashed my lights. Okay, go. Oh, because one lane is closed. All right. The right lane is closed. bucks Canadian, because I got it on Priceline. My car has a 6-speed Tremec. We're gonna do a test, you know, once I install the headers and the throttle body. We'll do it before and after, because I think my exhaust will sound a bit louder. Now this is the car, you know? And all right, let me see, were there any more interesting loads? Oh yeah, so now I hooked up with this equipment guy, so I'm pretty sure I should see more loads in the future. And I told him, I said, I'm just gonna charge you, you know, a couple of bucks extra for deadheading, but I have no problem going empty, like up to 2,000 miles. Because I said that's the reality of this business. Oh, another charge. That's the reality of this business, is that it's not that easy to find a load. And so I said, yeah, and usually the way I do it, you know, some people charge $2-3 a mile, or they add, like the way they do it in Alberta, for example, they charge by the hour. Just by the hour, from the time the truck leaves the yard, which is total crazy. Like for something like 65-ton trailer over there, like 10 axles, they will charge 300 Canadian per hour from the time the truck leaves the yard till the truck comes back. So let's say, like, you know, 300, 400, 500 miles, right? And that's how they do it. So that's very expensive, you know. So we cannot do it over here. And if somebody wants me to go to, let's say, Las Vegas, all I do is I use $1 US per mile as my deadhead fee, because, you know, let's say 1,000 miles, right? I will spend, you know, let's say I'm empty, so I will do close to 7 miles a gallon. Right, so that's about like 50-60 cents, right? And then I just add, you know, like a driver fee, because somebody has to drive the truck. You have to make some money, right, to buy food and stuff like that, Americano, you know, ice cream, all the essential stuff. So you need to charge a bit more than just fuel. And so that's what I came up with. I came up with $1 US per mile. So you want me to go to Las Vegas, 2,600 miles? No problemo, I'll just add 2,600 US to the bill, you know. You want me to go to Thunder Bay? No problemo. Thunder Bay, Ontario is 950 miles away. We're just gonna add that, 1,000 bucks, right? So that's how I do it. And then I also use a by the hour calculation, by the way. But I use by the hour, and then I count all the time I spend, you know, loading, unloading, crossing border, and then I add the fuel, and that's what my calculator does. My calculator shows me how many gallons I will burn, and I can change the miles per gallon depending on the load, right? So let's say if I'm like depending in winter, it can be like I put 3 miles or even 2.5 miles a gallon, right? If it's, again, depends on the weight, because I know my my mileage, but usually I know it in liters because my computer shows me in liters per 100 kilometers, but I know what it is. So, but typical load in the summer I do 4 miles a gallon. In winter can be less than 3, especially if it's heavy. So, and so that's what my calculator does. Calculates all time at 45 miles per hour, because you cannot use like 60 or 70 miles per hour. So as soon as I put the distance, so my calculator just shows me how much time I'll have to drive at 45 miles per hour, and then I add 6-8 hours for loading, unloading, border crossing, and then I add fuel, like it automatically added right after I change the fuel mileage. Let's say I use 3 or 4, whatever, and then I look up, I use this special website where I pay $50 US a month, I think, for looking up permits. So I go to the website, I plug in the origin, destination, dimensions of the load, the weight, and it has my it has my rig info already in there, like my deck height, you know, length and stuff like that. And so as soon as I put that in, and the software tells me my overall height, because I punched in the load height, right? Load width, load height, and so, and then boom, it starts thinking, and it gives me a list of all these states or provinces that I have to go through, and shows me if I need surveys, you know, escorts, how many, front, rear, police, yes, no, and then the most important thing, it gives me an approximate value in US dollars, right? So I just slap 10-15% admin fee on that, and that's what I plug in into my calculator, and then that shows me the rate in US dollars, and then also the calculator shows me a rate per mile before permits and after permits, and this allows me to make sure that I don't charge too much, because you know it's easy to get carried away. And you know, you want to be competitive, otherwise you send quotes to people and they go nowhere, you know. Oh geez, like we found a truck for that amount, you know, minus $2,000, for example. Like yesterday I asked the guy, I said, okay, I have a truck near Toronto, I can do this for this much. And the guy said, no, we found a truck for this much, you know. And of course it's less than my rate. So it's this trucking thing, you know, it's a constant fight for money. And of course I'm trying to get away from the load board, because load board, it's a great way to meet people and make friends, and that's how I met this equipment guy, right? So you know, you meet people whether you do load for them or you don't, and then of course the goal is to get away from the load board, because most good loads, they're not on the load board, you know. I forgot the number, but it's like a freight broker friend of mine was saying that it's like close to 70% or something of loads, they never make it to the load board. Like people just call their buddies, you know, their partners directly, like I hope this equipment guy will call or email me, you know. And we agreed on an interesting thing. He says, can you share your location with me? And I said, definitely I can do that, because I can activate it in Google Maps, right, from the truck, because I said, you don't want to see my location, you know I'm here in Cambridge. But I said, once I start moving, he wants to know my location, because he's buying stuff all over the place in the States and Canada, and he says, I could probably save some money if I can buy something from the area where you are at, so this way you're not going to charge me the deadhead fee, right? So he says, let's say if you are in Chicago and I know there's an auction in Chicago, you know, and you're gonna be free in a couple of days, he says. And we we reach a deal on the rate. I could buy something from Chicago. I said, yeah, that's a good idea, So it's like his personal truck. Right? He has a truck cruising around the U.S. and Canada, and then he just matches the location to see if that area has an auction selling something that he's interested in. Very cool. So that's how you do it. You want to get away from the load board, but the load board is a great way to build relationships. But I've been doing it since what, October 17, right? So now it's actually it's 3 years now that I've been independent, and I'm still here. I didn't go down or under, but after 3 years I think I should have more direct contacts where I don't have to use the load board. But I do have 118 people in my on my mailing list. These are people that I worked with and people that I exchanged emails with, like mostly brokers and a couple of direct shippers. But that's what I do, once when I'm sitting like this, I'm trying to find a load. So once maybe a week or once in 2 weeks, I send out this little, like a postcard, saying the truck is available. I include a picture. So type of trailer, 60-ton RGN, can deadhead up to 2,000 miles, can load in Canada, US, but can only go across the border from US. And then my contact info, and of course they have their unsubscribe button. If they don't want to be on my list, they just click that, unsubscribe, or they can subscribe, because let's say they can pass my email to a friend and they can subscribe and automatically get on my list, And I found a couple of loads like that, so it works. So anyway, so this was just basically kind of like drinking coffee in cars, that segment. Now this is cruising around in cars and talking about trucks and cars. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna upload it now. And by the way, I'm using I hope it didn't rattle this time, because I just got this brand new frame for my GoPro Session 5 from Amazon. And beautiful. Ordered it yesterday, I got it today, because turns out Amazon now has a huge warehouse right close to Cambridge over here. I was just driving there, right where the Kenworth dealer is. I'm driving and what? Amazon. Huge warehouse. So now, it's if I go to Amazon Canada quite often and I look at the delivery, I always try to find something where it says next day available, so I just pay them like 10 bucks for express delivery. So I ordered this frame yesterday, no, the day before yesterday, and yesterday it was in my mailbox at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So now I just went and picked it up. So basically this was also a test of this. I hope, of course, I have no idea how it recorded, but I'm gonna upload it to a computer and see after. So hopefully it didn't rattle. So if it did, we'll order a new one. Alright, so I'm back to Starbucks. Just gonna go grab some decaf Americano, because I already had coffee in the morning. And maybe keep staring at the load board. See if anything pops out. After lunch. Time now is I think it's 1:21 Eastern Time, Thursday, November 19th. And so, of course, ideally, I would love to find a load, while they're working on my truck, and it's under warranty, so I'm not paying anything, hopefully. So let's say they finish the truck by the weekend. Because I know when they're too busy, they just leave it for the weekend guys, like Saturday, Sunday. Okay, I don't care. But while they're working on the truck, let's say I can find a load leaving Monday, so that would be awesome. And also the shorty headers and the throttle body, that I bought directly from BBK Performance, they're coming to Michigan because they don't want to ship to Canada. So I had them ship them to a post office in Michigan, and the shorty headers are on back order, so they will only be shipped on the last day of November. I can't wait to install those, you know. But the throttle body should be shipped sometime this week. So ideally, I want to find a load where I'm going through Michigan, either on the way in or on the way back to Canada. So that's the plan. And talked to a friend of mine in Alberta. He's cleaning snow every day. He says like minus 13 Celsius or something, which is what, like 260 Kelvin. Crazy weather. Some guys liked my Kelvin joke, but yeah, now I'm gonna use Kelvin, you know. Like I'm sick and tired of converting everything to Fahrenheit, because Fahrenheit, it's not easy, right? It's like 32 plus 5/8 of that. Kelvin it's 273. 0 Kelvin is minus 273 Celsius, right? So I think, yeah, so basically if it's plus 10, you just add 10 to 273, so now it's in Kelvin, it's 283. But actually now, hold on, it was plus 3 or 276 Kelvin in the morning, and now it's come on, plus 12. Right, so that's 285 Kelvin. You see? Easy. I don't need a calculator anymore. And you guys have to learn, you know, kind of like to broaden your horizons. Like, you know, Fahrenheit is not the only system in the world. There's Celsius, there's Kelvin, there's all this good stuff. And photographers will be familiar with Kelvin, because when you choose white balance on your camera, you can do it, you can choose like automatic white balance, but if you choose manual, one of the ways to set up white balance is by temperature and Kelvin, and it's measured in Kelvin, like the, you know, the temperature of the light. Like I think the sun daylight, I think it's like 6400 Kelvin, and stuff like that. So it's all Kelvin, you know, like I heard of Kelvin before. So anyway, sorry for the long ramble, but I know some guys watch all my videos, so if you don't like the title, look at the title, read the title. How are we gonna call it? Cruising around in cars? I like that coffee, drinking coffee in cars. What was that series on YouTube? Yeah, something like that. Be safe, be cool, and please wear your masks. See, this is the cool mask that the girl at Starbucks gave me. But it's just a basic fabric, but it looks cool. I like it. Ciao.